Welcome to SSX Tricky.
Hey guys, Ronin here. Welcome on back to the Retrocade. It is Saturday, and that means it's time for a Sports Saturday. If you're new to the channel, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified of the latest content. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at @RetroCade, and if you can, spread the word. We're trying to reach our goal of 100 subscribers as soon as possible. That way we can do some more customizable features on the channel and make it a lot more flash and bang for the buck. Also, be sure to catch Suckerpunch Sunday tomorrow, where we play a fighting platform beat-em-up base game for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. If there's a game you'd like to see us feature here on the channel in the future, leave it in the comments below or drop me a tweet. And it can be any title from the Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis Mega Drive, SNK Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, or PlayStation 2. And because spring is here and winter is quickly fading away, I wanted to go back and play a game that I found kind of on a lark when I first got my PS2. It was one game that came when I got the system. I bought it from a friend of mine at the time. And I'm not a snowboarding guy. I'm to be slightly Canadian about it, even though I'm not from Canada. You know you're not an athlete up in the Great White North if you skate on your ankles. And that's something I found out living in New England as a kid growing up. I couldn't really have the coordination in my feet because I found out later on I have a condition that necessitates that or manifests that, I should say. So skating and skiing and snowboarding was never something that I was able to do. That said, when I plugged this in one day when I was bored on a Saturday, I figured, what the heck, I'll give it a shot and see if I have any fun with it. And I will genuinely tell you that I have loved this game. Now, if you're not familiar with the SSX Tricky series, or the SSX series in general, it was created by EA back in around the turn of the millennium, about 2000. You got SSX 1 for the PS2. SSX Tricky is essentially SSX 2, which is keeping with my non-planned theme of having sequels to pretty much every game featured here on the Retrocade. I swear to you, it's not intentional. It's just these end up being the games that I end up really liking when I start playing them. And I think it's by the time you get to the second game, most game developers, at least back in the eras from 1984 to 2010, were really finding their stride once they figured out, okay, we did the first game, now let's see how we can make it better. And SSX Tricky, to me, was my favorite game of the series. I know there are people who, and it's almost like a Beatles-Stones argument, and I know I'm dating myself with that analogy too, of which game is better, Tricky or SSX 3. I have played both, and I understand why people get the appeal of SSX 3. I particularly prefer Tricky, and that's just me. Your results may vary. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just telling you this is the game that I prefer, so this is the one we're going to play over the next half an hour or so. So what I'm going to do, at least for the first run, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do a single event to show you. And if you've never played this game, the reason why I enjoy it so much is I like the control of it. I like the kineticness of it and the way that you can just bust off different moves as you're going down a mountain. And my favorite character is Moby. And it didn't start out playing him that way. It was one where I just picked the character at random one day and I picked Moby, and he's just been my guy ever since. And I know a part of it is because he's from the Northlands of England. He's got the nice, thick Yorkshire, Northumberland accent, and his mannerisms and the things he says in the course of a race were always the things that I found the funniest. So,
no problems with me, mate. I'll take care of you.
I'll just go ahead and get this loaded up.
Set up character. Customize board. Username.
Give me our username. What?
Options.
No, I didn't want that. The problem with using a emulated copy, and for this I'm using PSXR or PCSXR2. And I've had to do a bit of tweaking on this to get it to run as well as I wanted it to. Unfortunately, my PC is a little bit older, and even though I've got it decked out with RAM and everything else, it is one where
Customize outfit.
you do get a bit of lag. There are ways you go into the setup to tweak that.
Customize board.
Let's see. I've got 4 boards available, and I think I'm going to take the cutting. No, I'll take the Dream On board.
Setup.
And you can deck out Moby's outfit, but I don't think I've unlocked all those yet.
You're going to be
This one is still my favorite of his looks. I always dig the white, yellow, blue combo for some reason. This one looks like he's in stealth gear mode, and the master one I was never a big fan of. It just looks a little bit too ostentatious, which again, being snowboarding, what are you gonna do? But I'll go ahead and use the Dark Union Jack. And we're just gonna hit Garibaldi, because Garibaldi is, it's the first one. It's not a hard mountain to learn, and then if we've got time, I'm gonna do a free ride after this. And the free ride is the one that I always like playing more because there aren't as many obstacles in your way, and you can have a little bit more fun with it. You can be a bit more creative about it. But again, as somebody who never was really big into snowboarding, the thing about this game, and before I jump into the race, I'll explain it to you. If there's one area of contention I have with it, it's that in trying to pull a lot of the moves off, you almost need 3 hands. Because on a PlayStation controller, you steer with the left joystick, you can speed up with the X button, and you also you prep for jumps using the X button. You hold the X button down, you get down into a low crouch, and then you let it go at the right time, and then you can jump. If you want to do things like flips and spins, though, you need to utilize the D-pad. So say if you want to be able to jump and do a spin going clockwise, you need to hold, as you're getting ready to jump, you have to get off the control stick, go to the D-pad, hold the right button until you're ready to go, let it rip, and then make sure you're doing spins and also doing flips. You're basically having to operate both ways, and then depending on which corresponding button you push, triangle, circle, square, X, R1, R2, L1, L2, you can do different things with it. And if you can pull the tricks off, you build up your trick meter, and then you can unlock his really good moves. That builds you more points. In these races, it's also the first one down the mountain wins, so it's a timed race. So there's a lot of variation involved in it, but there's also, if you're not careful, you can end up pulling off the same moves, and that impacts your trick meter. So I'll show you as we go. So like I said, you hold down the X button and see he crouches. That gets it ready to spin, and then if you're not careful, your coworker or your opponent's there. Will knock you on your butt. But if you can maintain the amount of, and then it's real easy if you're not careful and you're pulling the move off to fall and land on your butt.
Look at me!
Made in Japan.
But this is the thing we always loved about this game, is that you can just sit there and go completely berserk. And then you get the notification that the trick meter has capped off.
Player 1, you are number 2.
Now the only issue is that if you go too fast in this game, you go around these corners and you are not going to land well. And if you're not busting off tricks every 2 seconds, then your trick meter will inevitably start to go back down because you're not doing anything. So it's kind of a all or nothing proposition sometimes.
Oh, yeah!
With a flying squirrel.
And it will tell you what sorts of moves you pull off as you're doing them. And I don't have a clue.
Player one, you're the top dog.
Now that's a special move if you can pull it, but you've got to really nail it.
Fantastic! You!
But we would sit there and play this game for, if we were in the mood to play it, we'd play it for hours on end. Because in a lot of ways, and you have to think about other games of the time back in 2000 when you still even had consoles like the Dreamcast. Now I'm going to cheat right here because you can do it.
I think I might stay up here for a little while.
That's the other thing. When you can find a way to get out in front and use an advantage, you're free to do it. Am I gonna hit it? Oh, I hit it. And we're almost to the bottom of the mountain. Oh, and I'm wiped out. Cannot believe I did that. Now, one of my favorite things about Moby, and part of the reason, and you have to remember, in 2001, I was still in my early 20s. I was just coming out of college.
First place
And was sitting there thinking, okay, what can I, your brain is still kind of getting in the last bits of formative development. And I freely admit, I was as much of a juvenile imbecile as any other guy you'll ever meet.
Look for me! I'm on the telly!
And there's a point where he crashes and Moby will occasionally go, ow, me body! Well, because we were still infantile, juvenile pillocks at that age, and I'd like to think my friends and I have evolved into something better. Whenever I'd wipe out with Moby, that would inevitably change to, ow, me bum! Because that's just something you would hear a North Englishman on a mountain say when he crashes, so... So I've got enough time to do a free ride.
Make way! Make way!
So let me save this really quick. And we're going to do a different mountain. We're going to do the Elysium Alps. And the reason why I like doing the Elysium Alps is by the time you get down towards the end of it, you have a half pipe. And the half pipe can be a lot of fun. Whoop, let me go over here. But you see, there's a couple of different things you can do. You can do tutorials. You can do a practice run if you just want to try it. You can do a single event, or you can do a world circuit. The world circuit is fun to do, but it can be very frustrating. Because doing the world circuit, you have to build up your trick ability as you're winning on the mountains. The opponents get exponentially harder with each heat you do. You do 2 heats, you do a qualifier, a semifinal, and a final. If you win the finals, then you unlock later stages down the road. So it's a game that encourages you to get good at it, but also, like most games, it's an easy game to enjoy, but a hard game to master. And I know people who play this game in SSX3, and they actually go out and do snowboarding. Where I lived in the Pacific Northwest for 30 years, there's no end of places you can go, up on Mount Rainier, up on Mount Hood. Bachelor was a great skiing area in that part of the world.
Set up character.
And they would go out and go do snowboarding, and during the summer, you would probably find them playing these sorts of games. So the 3 mountains I have unlocked, I have Garibaldi, I have Snowdream, and I have the Elysium Alps. We're going to do the Elysium Alps. And I know there's a gazillion codes and things you can get to unlock stuff. And I could have entered all that in, but for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and do this one. Now, this is what my friends and I would play. We would play... We would play free ride and just have a ball.
Come on, then!
Because what are you going to do all day? It's one of those that you can just sit there and have... Oh, I crashed going up off the lip. How'd I pull that one? But again, my one... Oh! I hit the flip, even though I slammed into the side. My one gripe with this game. Can I get out of here?
Whoa, yeah! Baby!
Is being able to transition off and do spins versus doing flips. Because to do flips, you need the thumbstick. To do spins, you just need to be able to have the D-pad. But for its time on the PS2, and you have to remember, this is now a 20-year-old game. And this was still at a time where the... Whoop, and again, you get into the habits of pulling particular moves just by utilizing the thumbstick or the controls for certain things. But you have to remember that in 2001, this was still the peak of the X Games, and you had snowboarding that was really coming into its position of being a predominant winter recreational sport. Ow. And you also had, this was at a point where you had the X Games, you had the Tony Hawk games were still in high demand for skateboarding. And this is just a game that you didn't have to really be super knowledgeable about snowboarding or anything like that. You could just go and have fun for however long you wanted to play it. And as I've long stated, you know, there was a time where, let's see if I can get the rail on this. Can I hold it? Well, I got it, but get a 50-50 rail. There was a point when EA made these sorts of games and people ate them up. This was done out of their big studio, which closed down, I believe, in 2012 after they did SSX for the PS3. And they've never really gone back to it since. And obviously with all the things that EA is doing now, with putting everything behind paywalls, and focusing on just trying to ilk and squeeze out as much money from the consumers as they can. Ow. Man down. You know, I don't know if we'll ever see another game like this made, which is a shame. Because for people like me, who, again, aren't massively into this sort of stuff, even though, you know, and I'm at the age now, being in my 40s, that I suspect that if I wanted to actually go out and start trying snowboarding, I'd be in traction inside of a week. Either because I'd blow a knee out or do something crazy, or just the effort that's required to be able to get on a snowboard and go. I shouldn't have tried to jump on that side of the pipe. This isn't the pipe yet. We're not even there yet. Now here's the half pipe. This is where you can have a lot of fun. I just gotta be able to pull a spin off here. There we go. Yeah, I get the special. I do get the special. Oh, am I gonna get it? Oh! And I won't lie, when you wipe out in this game, you can't help but laugh sometimes. I mean, it is. You just think, oh, that's not gonna end well. As I get right into the side of the mountain. But this is a game that where if I'm on a day like today, if I don't have anything really... Ow! Wipe out again. If I don't have anything pressing I gotta do, and if I just want to kick back and have fun playing a game, this is one of the games that I will go to.
I'm on the telly!
Get the flip, gets the flip. Oh, I still wipe out right before I hit the bottom. Let's see, where are we at? We're 21 minutes. I think I could probably get another one in. But I hit 25 tricks, wiped out 10 times. And you're doing over 40 miles an hour. So, I mean, again, for somebody who has never been snowboarding, I've never even been skiing. I love going to mountains. I love seeing mountains. I've been up on mountains, but I've never gone down one in winter on a ski or on a snowboard. And if I was able to reset the clock and go back 20 years and do it, you're damn right I'd do it. I'd love to do it. You know, the closest thing I ever came to was as a kid going sledding and inner tubing and stuff like that, which was great. I love the rush of it, but there's a big difference between doing that and doing it on a snowboard. So while we got time, I think I'll show you Snow Dream really quick. And that's the other thing I like about this game, is that you can just go and play it, and also you can get down a mountain fast. It's however fast you want to do it, because the free rides aren't timed. You can take as long as you want, or if you want to just zip down the hill, you can zip down the hill. Now, I will warn you, if you're going to play this on an emulator, the thing about PC SXR2 is that you really have to adjust it because this thing can be a bit buggy. When I first started playing it, I had an issue where about halfway through my first run, almost wiped out. Moby just disappears on me.
Oh yeah, you're the showstopper. Funky dope maneuver.
So there are a million different things you can do online, and you can go to YouTube and find a whole bunch of things that are videos and tutorials on how to set it up. Where Josh got that. Missed that jump, but that's okay. But anyways, I was saying, you can go on YouTube if you want to play this on your emulator and you find you're having that issue where your character's just up and vanish. Then, yeah, go to YouTube and just look up SSX Tricky invisible bug. And they will show you how to correct it. Uh-oh. Oh! Didn't mean to do that, but now I open up a shortcut. Bust that and see if I can clear this. Sometimes you can't. Nope. Bam, right into the wall. If you can clear that jump, if you can get a good enough run on it, then what you're able to do is you can bypass all this stuff and go around it. You can still stay on track and doing different stuff as you're going down the mountain, but you get a totally different route. But you've got to clear that first jump. And if you don't, then you're hosed. Hold a 900. I'll dig that. Oh, they got the backflip. I have bailed so many times coming down at the end right here on this mountain that it never fails. So I think at that point, that's as good a one to leave it at as I'm going to get. So that, guys and gals, is SSX Tricky for the PS2. If you don't have access to a PS2 and you can get it on an emulator, get it on an emulator. If you like to do snowboarding, or even if you don't, if you just want a fun game that you can just trick out, do a lot of different cool things with, have fun with your buddies with, this is a game that I strongly recommend. It's fun. There's a lot of variation to it. Find a different character, because the dearth of characters that you have at your disposal, it allows you to come up with a whole lot of different things. You'll find a character that you'll like, and you'll be able to do different stuff. And then it's honestly, it's just a fun ass game to play. It really is. So if you like that, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, ring the bell to be notified of the latest content. Don't miss out on Suckerpunch Sunday tomorrow, where we play a fighting or fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. Our Final Fantasy VI walkthrough picks up on Monday. We do 2 episodes a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I'm at episode 36 on that one, and I'm hoping I will get it, and I was saying this a couple weeks ago, but I'm hoping we will get it done in the next week to 2 weeks. We're into Act 2 now, so if you want to see somebody who's never played Final Fantasy VI, and if you've never seen it yourself, it's a great game. It's a frustrating game, but there's a lot of things that it's got more pluses than minuses for me at this point. So again, that picks up on Monday. If there's any game you'd like to see us play from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th generation, leave it in the comments below or drop me a tweet at our Retrocade. And as always, my name is Ronin. It's been a great Saturday to spend with you, everybody. Have a safe and happy rest of your weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.